What's up, everybody? We're going to go over my sales call checklist right now. This is what I use to review my clients' calls, my own calls over my career, the past. Since I started recording calls, I actually have on my other computer, I'm in Dubai right now. That's why I look super tired. I have thousands of calls that I just recorded them. So when I go over a client's call, I go through this checklist. Now, it's easy enough to just look at the checklist and okay, well, most of these, they may or may not make sense without a bit of explanation in terms of what I mean. Okay, so let's just run right through it. So starting with the top, did you take control of the call? Meaning, when you jump on a call, you ask questions right away. Sometimes they jump on and say, hey, they start asking you stuff, and it's easy to just lose frame right away. Yes is good, no is bad, okay? Most of these are yes is good, no is bad. Some of them are yes is bad, no is good, whatever. Did you establish questioner, answer, or rapport? Okay, so at the beginning of the call, really what I like to do is ask really quick questions. Hey, John, can you hear me? Yeah, I can. Great, man. How's your week been so far? Awesome. Yeah, me too. I'm just here in Dubai. It's crazy. It's all hot. There's camels. What about you? Where are you based? Oh, I'm here. Great. Is this still a good time? Yeah. Awesome. Do you have a pen, piece of paper ready to dive in? I do. So what I just did there, question. I ask a question, he answers. I ask a question, you answer. I ask a question, boom, boom, boom. That controls the pace of the call. So you want to do that. You can get deeper faster. And then just transition smoothly into the frame. Hey, is this still a good time? Yeah, it is. Okay, you got a pen, piece of paper ready to dive in? I do. Cool, man. So how this call goes, you go into the frame, right? Did you try to be their friend? Yes is bad, no is good. So sometimes, not to pick on Ryan, my old roommate slash business partner, I remember he was on a sales call with this guy and they spoke about, I could hear him from the other room. He was talking about Eastern European women for about 15 minutes. And suffice to say, the guy did not sell. He did not sell him. He did not close. Okay. So the frame, were you clear, relaxed, and concise? Was your tonality confident and clear? I guess I had these both in the same thing, but I might switch these out later. But thing is, the clear, relaxed, concise is like, hey, Ben, what's up, man? Okay, so how this call typically works best is I'm going to ask you a few questions, see if and even how I can help. If we can, I'll talk to you about what that might look like. If not, I'll just try to point you in another direction. Sound good? Yeah, sounds great. Relaxed, confident, clear, concise. You don't want to be like, well, this call, I've seen frames go like 2 minutes long, and it's just like too much. And I would even add one on here. Like if it's a sophisticated prospect, someone who's doing, let's say they're doing hundreds of thousands of dollars in their business, right? A sophisticated person who's been on many sales calls before, you actually don't want to use a frame. If they were sophisticated, did you not use a frame? And same thing, yes is good, no is bad. I'm not even going to edit this out, fuck it. So that might just be like, hey, John, great. So how can I potentially help? So, hey, you booked in this call. What can I do to help, man? Now, discovery. Did you go follow the call flow? Every single time we would do a call review when I was working on Cole Gordon's team, 8 out of 10 times, the biggest problem is the prospect or the closer or the setter did not follow the call flow. So the call flow, everyone kind of has a different one. The one I like to use is, hey, what is the problem? What are you doing to solve that problem? How long has this been going on? You know, why can't you solve this yourself? What have you tried? Have you gotten help before? Right? What's the payoff? Or actually, before going into what's the payoff, what would an ideal solution look like to you? So if you sell coaching, they might say, hey, I want support. I want this, I want that. Okay, cool. That lets you tailor your pitch at the end of the call. What's the payoff emotionally, logically? And then what's going to happen if nothing changes? And why is this important to you now? Right? Why not just put this off? Okay, boom, then you would transition. That's like the discovery. I would maybe add a question in there about decision makers. If it's a B2C, hey, does your spouse know that we're talking? Hey, does your business partner know that we're talking? Cool. Is there anyone else that would be involved in making a decision about da 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 da? Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get them on the call. But that's the overall the call flow. Was your first question about their biggest challenge or goal? Okay. So a lot of the times people, their first question is like very broad. So like, what got you on the call today? Which is like, okay, there's like good, better, and best in sales. That is like, okay, somewhere between good and better. So, hey, well, why don't you just tell me like, what would you say is, I guess, the biggest challenge right now, if any? Or, hey, like if it's more of a biz op offer, you might start with your goal. So dude, tell me about some of your goals in your business. What you got going on right now? You know, so the reason why we want to ask a question like that is because the idea is to get deep into the call fast. So most calls go to surface level, and you can't really sell to surface level problems. So for example, someone jumps on the call. They're like, hey, I need more leads. Okay. How many more leads do you need? Another 10 a week. Gotcha. Well, how long have you been wanting to get 10 leads a week? Well, I don't know, like since last week. You know, it's like very surface level. We got to go deeper. And we do that by asking better questions. So this one, did you find the pain, not the problem, within the first 10 minutes? So so this is very important. So there's a problem, which is very easy to find the problem. Then there's the pain, which is attached to it. These are different things, right? So problem is I have gained 10 pounds since being here in Dubai. The pain is like, how is that affecting me? Like, oh, I'm not as confident as I was when I was like way ripped, had like a 6-pack, all veins popping out. It looked sick. Now I'm like kind of fat again. God damn it. It's fucking traumas. It's pain. And like that, what's that pain causing me? Then you can go and unpack the pain. Okay. I'm not sure if I have that in here. Oh yeah, I do. The 4 horsemen of pain. Shout out to Eli Wild for this. But the QE framework. Okay. So there's 2 things. I'll get into this. So get to the pain, get to there fast, the first 10 minutes. I hate hearing sales calls where it's like 20 minutes into the call and we still haven't even got to the pain. It's crazy. Usually that happens when the closer talks too much. Did you ask follow-up questions or next questions? Okay, so if I have my call flow problem, what are you trying to do to solve it? Da, 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 da. It's much better to uncover this information in the context of a conversation, meaning, hey, like it's like a follow-up question is following up based on something that they said, but leading it towards what you want to know, which is the next question on your thing. So for example, a next question is like, it sounds very much like you're interrogating them. A follow-up question is conversational, which slips below the radar where they're like, they don't get their guards up because like, oh, these guys just asked me questions. Next thing I know, I bought. Whoa, it's crazy, you know? So a follow-up question might be like, great. So tell me, what got you on this call? I know I said not to use that question, but whatever. I'll just role play with myself. Oh, well, you know, I'm just looking for a way to get more leads for my business. Gotcha. How many more leads would you be looking for? Oh, I'm looking for this and that. Okay. And what kind of leads are you, or like, what are you doing to generate leads right now? Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this. Gotcha. How's that working? It could be better. Like how many, like that's like follow-up questions versus a next question is like, hey, so what got you? What's your biggest challenge? Oh, I'm just looking to get more leads. Gotcha. How many clients do you have right now? I got 10. Okay. And like, what do you charge them? 1,500 each. Gotcha. So you're making like 15K per month? Yeah. Okay. And like, what's your biggest challenge with getting the leads? Oh, yeah. I mean, I just can't get my ads to be going. Oh, okay. Do you have a business partner? You see how it's very like, it's just like, it's just weird. It's just kind of weird. Follow-up questions is big. Did you avoid solution injecting or coaching? So solution injecting, I was listening to a sales call today, actually, and within the first 7 minutes of the call, the prospect just brings up that he's been looking for mentorship. This was an offer to help sell coaching around Facebook ads and media buying. The prospect's like, oh, you're looking for, or no, the prospect's like, yeah, I've been looking for mentorship. I want to learn how to do this myself. Because they have a certain funnel where it's like, not that it matters, but it's like a done for you ad. It's for like $100. But anyway, The closer's like, oh, really? You're looking for that? Oh, yeah, because da 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 da. He just starts talking about his solution, which is solution injecting, or just, like when you start coaching people on their problems during the discovery. You should just remember the discovery is you ask them questions, they answer. You do not talk anything other than you going deeper into what they just said or you preventing objections. Those are the 2 times you talk during the discovery. Okay. Did you get clear data points for their current and future situation? So if you're helping them make more money, how much money you're making now, where do you want to get to? Exactly. Don't let them give you a wishy-washy answer. Well, it'd be cool to make like, it was like, oh, I'm around, like 5 to 10K per month right now. Like around, that's like a pretty big difference, bro. Which one is it? Oh, like what, how much did you make this month? Oh, 7,400. Okay. What about the month before? 5K. Month before that, 8. Okay. So you're like, gotcha. Anyway, and then what's the goal? Oh, like the sky's the limit, no, we don't accept that. Like, yeah, but specifically, I know the sky's the limit, but like realistically, in the next 3 months, like if we were having this conversation and you were super happy, like what number would that be? Oh man, 25K per month would be sick. Okay, cool. We got some data points. Same thing with weight, how much do you weigh now? How much you want to lose? Many different examples of that. Did you get below the surface for their pains and goals? Okay, so just like there's a problem and a pain, there's also a goal and like a dream, or it's like a goal and like the benefit, like the emotional, what's the opposite of a pain, I guess? A pleasure? Yeah, like the goal, like the pleasure. So it's like, it'd be cool to make 25K, but why? Oh, it's like the motivation. Well, then I could like take my family for trips. I could come to Dubai. I could like rent a camel. I could like, whatever their motivation is. Did they quantify the value of your offer for you? So this is a big one. Another thing I learned from Mr. Eli Wild, as client always must quantify the value of your offer for you. You can't tell them how much it's worth. They have to tell you. Okay. So you can do this through questionings. You can do this through frames. You can do this through many things, but if they're not telling you exactly what it's worth for them to solve the problem, it's going to be really hard for you to sell at the end, because they need to see in their mind that their problem is this big, or the value of working with you is this big, and your price is only this. Okay. So if you can't quantify the value, like you're going to have a lot of trouble selling. But if they can see that it's so much more valuable, it's a really easy decision. So did you chunk down using the QD framework? I got this from Ben Perry, guy who used to sell for traffic and funnels. QD, CUTI, or CUT-IE. Okay, so CU is clarify uncertainty. All right, clarify uncertainty. When they say something and you don't know what the hell they mean, ask them, what do you mean by that? Oh, okay. And then, so for example, okay. Hey, I'm just looking for more leads. Broad. Chunking down is going from a general, like a story or something very just generalized to something specific. Well, okay, well, gotcha. How many more leads are you looking for? Oh, probably like 15. Okay, and is there like a specific reason why that number? Yeah, that would allow me to double my business. Gotcha. Okay, and then T in the QD framework, time frame. How long have you been looking to double your business? Oh man, like probably for the past like 3 to 4 months, we've been trying to bump up our lead gen. Huh. Okay, and IE is like impact or effect. Gotcha. And like what kind of impact would it have for you if you were able to get those extra leads and double your business? Like what would change for you, I guess? Oh man, like I would be able to hire more staff. I could buy back some of my time. I wouldn't be working so much on the business rather than in it, I wouldn't have to stress about payroll because I have a steady stream of leads from my sales reps. Gotcha. That makes sense. That sounds like it would be a great goal for you. Yeah, totally. Did you get into the 4 horsemen of pain? Again, straight from my partner, Eli Wild. I don't know why I said it like that. 4 horsemen of pain is like unpacking the pain. So similar to the QD framework, when you get to the pain, which is like the pain of the problem, we expand the problem. We make it wider, deeper. We spread it to different areas. This is sales. This is what everyone misses. This is why they can't sell. Okay, so the 4 horsemen of pain are number 1, how long has that been going on? The duration of the pain. Number 2, what is the impact of the pain? Specifically impacting, we want to spread the pain to different areas of their life. Let me see if I have that in here. No, I don't. So the different areas of life, well, like if they tell you, for example, that them not having leads, stressing them out. So hold on, stress? Yeah. Well, what are the other, I'm asking you, what are other areas that stress would affect you outside of business? Well, your fitness, your life, your overall well-being in general. Maybe it's turning into tension and you're bringing that home with you to your relationships. You're snapping at your kid. You're calling your wife a bitch. You're kicking your dog. I don't know what's going on. It's your life, but that's impact. Okay, so duration, impact, root cause. Root cause is pretty much like what causes. Well, I don't know, or is this? Okay, gotcha. Cool. What have you done to solve it? Da 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 da. Okay, and the 4th horseman of pain is what we would call a trigger moment or a moment of decision. Okay, so was there a moment that made you say enough's enough? I'm tired of looking in the mirror and like looking at my fat gut. Now's the time to take action. Like, what happened? You just assume that there was. Well, like they'll think, like, yeah. My wife was like, she was making fun of me because these pants I just bought, they're not fitting me anymore. Damn. Okay, shit, dude. Okay, fuck. That's a trigger moment. So every memory is attached. Basically, the way that we remember stuff is like through emotion, basically. So if you can't remember stuff, you have to emotionalize it. But if people are bringing up a memory of the past attached to a painful event, guess what happens? They relive the pain and they get into pain. And our goal is to do what? Going to the bottom here, make them sit in the weight of their pain, which is a Sam Ovens quote. But hey, it's good. Did your discovery last less than 24 minutes? Yes is good, no is bad. You should be transitioning around the 24-minute mark if you're doing everything good, if not before. Sometimes if you're like efficient, you can be closing people by the 30-minute mark or sooner. Did you find out about their financial information? Did you financially qualify them? You'd be surprised how many people get to the end of the call and they're totally like, it's like they're an ostrich with their head in the sand. They've gone through and they've fucking asked all the questions. The person's totally sold. And they're like, I don't want to ask them about their money. And they go to pitch and the person's like, well, I don't have any money. Like, idiot. We could have addressed that at the beginning of the call. There's another one on here talking about red flags versus green flags, which I'll get to. Next one, did you find out about decision makers? Before you get to the pitch, right before you transition, you always want to, if it doesn't come up organically, just bring it up. If it's a B2B sale, say, great. So would we be working with you alone, or do you have any partners that would be involved? No, it'd just be me. Okay, cool. Or I have some partners. Okay, great. Well, like, let's make sure that we get them on the call so that we can actually make a decision. We're not just like wasting each other's time. Same thing with spouse. Did they come to a firm commitment to change? So always remember, no matter what you sell, especially in B2C, but really in every type of sale where it's high ticket, the very first sale is getting them to commit to changing. So that's why we ask questions about the cost of an action, which is the next one here. That's why we really stretch the gap between where they are now, where they want to be. That's why we really get them feeling the pain of their situation. And then we do like the Dickens effect, which is something Tony Robbins does in his Unleash the Power Within seminars. Basically, coming from like the not Scrooge McDuck, but the Christmas Carol story where like the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. We do that to commit them to change. So it's like, okay, we're going into the past first to get them to understand that the past was painful because of this problem that they couldn't solve. And then we are taking them to the present to get them to see how it's affecting them now. And then we're future casting their future for them to see that it's not going to get better. And so we get them to commit to change now. And if they can't do that, they'll never buy anyway. If they can do that, if they commit to changing, there's this thing in the human brain called the commitment consistency bias, which will basically force them to close. Not all the time, but it's way going to be more impactful if you get them to commit to changing. Did you get a good answer to the cost of inaction? Typically, that comes right before you ask a strong commitment question, but just like, hey, what's going to happen if nothing changes? You want a good answer, because cost of inaction, one, it gets them into that feeling of urgency. Two, it builds the value of your offer more. Hey, this like problem's not going to go away. It's only going to get worse. Kill the monster while it's a baby. Three, cost of inaction. It gives you emotional ammunition, I guess, to bring up at the end of the call. It's like, well, listen, man, you told me that if you don't change, like your wife's going to leave you and she's taking the kids, and that's going to be an expensive divorce, and your kid's going to grow up to be an OnlyFans girl, and your son's probably going to hate you, and your wife might marry some alcoholic loser who's just like you. So why don't we do the right thing here and make sure that we get you these leads or whatever you sell, bro. So we want to ask a cost of inaction question, because it's been shown that these alone increase your percentage of them closing by 30%, which is a big fucking number. That's a lot of money. And then finally, did you let them sit in the weight of their pain? So this one should go actually closer to the solution injecting, because what you don't want to do is them to say, oh, like, yeah, I have this problem. And then you go immediately into like, oh, well, like I can help you with that. Because they're in pain. And then you're kind of like fixing it for them right away. We want them to like be uncomfortable. So again, this shout out to good old Sam. But the other thing with like sitting in the weight of their pain, having a brain fart for a second. Where was I going with this? Totally having a brain fart. Cool. Well, I might come back to that. I had something good, but yeah, whatever. So far, so good. Transition. Did you have a simple transition and get them to ask for the pitch? Never make a pitch that has not been asked for. Okay, never make a pitch that they did not ask you for. If you're selling them, you're doing it wrong. Where you're trying to convince them that, oh, well, like this is gonna do this and da da da. It's so awesome. You're gonna love it. We don't have. That's not how you sell. That's bad. Okay. Pitch. Okay. Did you keep the conversation? Did you keep the pitch conversational, or was it a monologue? Oh, I just remember with the weight of their pain. If let's say they say something where it's obviously like, oh crap moment, where they're like, yeah, I mean, if I don't get my finances fixed, I mean, I might go homeless or something. Like they say something where it's like, oh shit moment. Rather than just talking right away, you hit them with some silence like this. Damn. I'm like, oh, that will hit. Okay, that's what I forgot. So here, did we keep the pitch conversational, or was it a monologue? So Cole Gordon called this anvil dropping your pitch when it's a monologue, where you're just like first we do this and then you get this and this and this and this and this and this Like the entire call up until this point has been a dialogue. I ask you questions, you answer, I ask you questions, this, that, and then we like switched gears and we go into this crazy long pitch, and they're like, they start like zoning out and like falling asleep, and at this point you probably have been talking for like a long time, so they're like tired. There's probably like another 30 minutes after this for you to like try to like objection handle them. We don't want to do this. We want to keep the whole pitch conversational. So like if you find yourself talking for more than 30 to 45 seconds, you got to like check in with them. Does that make sense? You with me so far? Any questions about that? No, boom, boom, boom. Like, just like, when you were sitting there in your school as a kid and the teacher called on your name and you might've been like daydreaming, you're like, Ben, I'm like, huh? Oh yeah. Oh, totally. Yeah. That's what you do. Did you follow the pitch formula? All right. I have another training on this. Not to go into it all, but there's 6 pieces. 6 P's, if you will. So the simple version is like recapping their problems, giving them a prescription, making a promise, big promise of what you do, then going through your model or your presentation. All right, we use models a lot for our framing and stuff. It could be your pillars, then your logistics, and then your I call it the commitment phase. So temp checking them, making sure that they're bought in on the process, so if they feel good about it, they can see it working for them. And then doing like a timing commitment. So this is going to take about 2 hours a day. Is that doable for you? Yeah, totally. Okay, awesome. And then the price drop. So that's the pitch formula at a high level. Did you ask for the sale? So this is stupid, but so many people just don't ask for the sales. Like, okay, great. Do you want to do it? Yeah. Why don't we do it? You're gonna do it, right? Yeah. Whatever you say. Why don't we get started? You could just say it very simply. Okay, cool. So out of all those things that I just broke down for you in the presentation, which one are you most excited for? Making more money or growing your audience really big? Or like making the money or making it really fast? Like both. Awesome. So if you could get those benefits, later or sooner, which one would you pick? Oh, I definitely do it sooner. Okay, great. What credit card do you want to use? I'll use my Visa. Did you clarify questions asked during the pitch? Yes is good, no is bad. Clarifying questions asked during the pitch. Whenever they ask you a question, after you've transitioned into your presentation, you have to understand that behind every question is an objection. So you have to say, rather than just blurting right out and answering it, you have to figure out why they're asking it, right? So they might ask, hey, like, do you do group calls? And you say, well, generally, yes, but I'm just curious, what makes you ask? Oh, well, I was in this last coaching program and I hated the group calls because there was like so many people on them. Oh, gotcha. Well, the way that we do it is make you submit questions beforehand, and then we can just make sure everyone gets answered. And if you can't get yours answered in time, we'll just send it to you. Or we'll do a one-on-one with you or send you a Loom or something. Does that make sense? Yeah. Whatever. Did you temp check before the price drop? That's part of the pitch formula. Did you include a future pace in your pitch? This is like a bonus, but it's always good. So for example, the problem that they're coming to, here's something in general. When people solve one problem, it creates more problems. So for you, you're coming there, the value of your offer is based on the problem you solve, which is maybe it's helping them close more sales like I do, or helping them get jacked, or helping them, buy a business, whatever it is. What is the next problem that they're going to have? If you can attach that to your offer, it's really interesting because it's like, oh, and as soon as you start closing more sales, the next thing that you're going to discover is that you're like, oh crap, I'm bringing on like 10 to 20 clients per month. What am I going to do to scale up? Well, the next thing that we have is like this cool thing that allows you to, we're going to give you our frameworks for bringing on a client success manager so that you don't have to, do all the coaching. You can just have this one person who's going to take care of all that for you. So you just have to keep, like enrolling clients, and then you actually have a business that's going to scale without you spending all your time on the phone. Does that make sense? Like, oh, wow, that's really cool. So they're already thinking like, oh, I've already solved the problem with these guys. So it's kind of like ninja, I guess. This is a bonus too. Did you pitch to their language, specifically their adjectives? So if they're like, I really hated my last coach, I really hate doing cold DMs. They're the worst. I was like, oh, but like the most fantastic thing about doing this and that. So it's like you just use those adjectives. You know how you told me that you really hated sending those cold DMs? Well, the way that we fix that is through our Instagram ad strategy. And so you're using their language and you're tailoring their pitch, your pitch to, it's like a perfect solution to their problem, right? I think of it like a lock and key formula. You know, it's like they have this problem. It's like you get the perfect unlock for it. And if you can say it in their language, it's like the icing on the cake. And that's basically what I'm talking about here. Did your pitch solve their exact problems, like a lock and key? And then the problems I didn't even know they had, which is like the future pace here. Did you use frames to get them to quantify the value of your offer? So there's many frames, but for example, we have like a race car one. Basically a frame, we're giving people context. They give us their content, we give them the context, and then they can see the value of our offer. So for example, there's 5 parts to every business: lead generation, lead nurture, conversion, delivery, and then back end, right? Upsells, referrals, retention, whatever. So they might come on the call saying, oh, my biggest problem is I just want to get ads going so I can get more leads. Okay, great. And so like, let's go through the model. So let's look at your business as it is. We open up like a pipeline. So we show the 5 parts of the business. Let's rate each part of your business on a scale of 1 to 10, right? You're doing how much right now? Oh, I'm doing 10K per month. Okay, so how many leads are you getting right now? You know, I'm getting 10 per week. Okay, so 40 per week. Gotcha. And then what is your lead nurture process? Well, what's that? Well, how are you getting people to like show up to the calls? How are you getting them to trust you, to buy into your sales? Like, are you getting a lot of objections where they're like uncertain? Tell me about that. Oh, well, yeah, I am. Okay, so let's say that your lead generation right now is like a 5 out of 10. Would you say your lead nurture is what? I'll probably like a 0. I haven't even thought about it. Okay, what about your sales process? I close like 20%. Okay, so gotcha. Like 20% is about a 2 out of 10. Right. Okay, so there's room to be improved there. Yes. Okay, what about your delivery? Are all your clients happy with your service? And see, it's like you can just show them that there's bigger problems to solve than what they originally focused on by showing them a bigger picture, right? And then if you can attach numbers to it, it's really easy for them to be like, oh, I can see how this will work. Did you get a firm decision on the call? I hate it when calls end with them looking like, okay, well, we'll think about it. Or yeah, like see you later. You know, like we don't want to wimp out at the end, which is the next one. Did you wimp out during objection handling and let them off easy? No is good, yes is bad. But we basically want to get them to make any decision. I don't care if it's yes or no, but we don't like maybes, right? And it's not that you have to say this in your frame, but ideally you've done a good job of getting them to commit to change. And then we're just firmly getting them to like say, okay, like let's draw a line in the sand. Let's just start moving towards what we want. Shall we? Yes. If they're just leaving the call with no firm decision, no firm follow-up, you fucked up. Straight up. Objection handling. Did you wimp out during objection handling and let them off easy? I hear this a lot. People are like, oh, I want to think about it. Closer will be like, oh, okay. Well, see ya. That's wimping out. We have to start handling the objections in a logical order. So yes, don't wimp out. Did you solve uncertainty first? So if you're like, oh, well, it's just a lot of money, whatever they say, you always want to loop back and say, okay, well, I can appreciate that. But do you feel like this would even get you the result that you're looking for, though? Yes. Well, why do you feel like it would? Oh, well, because you have this and that and this. Okay, gotcha. And so I guess when you said that, like, you don't have the money, what's coming up for you? Like, can you tell me more about that? Do you mean like you don't have the money in general, or you don't want, like, you don't see the value? Like, there's like all these different things we could do. You could say, okay, if you had the money, I just gave you a big bag of money, would you do it? Yeah, okay, well, like, gotcha. Well, we can have a conversation from that point. If we determine after uncertainty that it might just be logistical, I just literally don't have that much in my bank account. Well, like maybe we can break it up. We can do a deal. We can get them to like get credit, whatever. But if it's fear, we got to figure that out. But we do this systematically. Follow-ups. Were there clear next steps if a call went to a 2-call close? Yes is good. No is bad. I don't have anything in here about deposits, but you know, I should add something about deposits specifically. I just want to get through these relatively quickly before my throat dies on me. So these are just miscellaneous, but important. So how was your tonality throughout the call? Was it confident or uncertain, or certain or uncertain? How was your body language throughout the call? Confident or uncertain? So this is a big one. If you watch your videos, watch their facial expressions and also you. One thing that I see happen a lot is when the salesperson is talking, it's clear that they don't know what to say. They'll start looking up. They'll go, yeah, da da da, yeah, da da. It's like they're just trying to think of what to say. And there's a difference between verbal, like pausing, and not knowing what to say and doing that. So when you look away, your eyes roll up. It breaks rapport with the person. They're like, oh, this person doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about. The other one, it's just it changes how the question lands. So like this stuff Jeremy Miner talks about a lot, but like it's like, huh? So is that having an impact on you? Yeah, I mean, it is because da da da. Huh? Okay. Huh? Yeah. So that's a little thing. Like look at your facial, your body language, but also look at theirs. So if they're coming on the call, they're smiling, they're all happy, and then you notice by the end of the call when you watch the replay, they're all like, like go back and listen to like try to identify the point of the call where it flipped, because you probably said something that triggered them or shot their defenses up or got them pissed at you. It's important. Did you use brevity? Brevity. So basically, if you can, okay, brevity is just an economy of words. Saying one thing where this is what a lot of closers do. Let's say I want to know how much money did you make. They'll have preamble and post-amble. Preambles be like, well, so I'm curious, in how much, like, what would you say your monthly revenue is? So the preamble and then like the question, and then they'll do post-amble too. It's like, and the reason why I ask is because da 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 da. So it's like it's way more powerful sometimes to just use brevity. Cool. What's your monthly revenue at right now? Oh, well, I don't want to ask them. Well, it's a normal question, first of all. So brevity helps. Did you use silence? When they say something, sometimes you just gotta, Even like one thing that can help you sound more natural, because if you're way too scripted, you just have an answer right away. It's just like, oh, this guy's done this before. But if you're like, okay, well, what about this? You don't want to use too much silence because it gives them a chance to jump in and start asking questions and taking control of the call. But there's like a sweet spot where it really seems like it's more authentic. Sometimes if you use it in the right point, again, it helps them magnify their pain. The other one here is being intentional with your words. Okay, this is so huge. It shouldn't be in the miscellaneous. Sales in general is a game of intention. Intention. Every single thing that you say needs to have an intention behind it, meaning you know the reason why you're asking this. Some people, when they don't know what to say next in their calls, they'll start rambling. Like, oh, well, like, how was your week, by the way? It's like, I've heard the weirdest shit. People just, like, I was listening to a call today and the guy was like in the middle of the call, he's just like, yeah, and I'm just curious, why is your hair wet? To this girl. She's like, oh, I got out of the shower. It's like, oh, that's funny, man. Oh, well, It was just weird. There's no reason to say that. It's like, oh, it's kind of cute, I guess, but we're not there to be cute. We're there to be leaders. So being intentional is knowing the reasons why you're saying what you're saying at all times. Did you look for green flags or red flags? This is huge. Looking for red flags is good. Looking for green flags is bad. Amateur closers and appointment setters will look for all the reasons why they could buy, and they'll ignore the red flags, just like my ex. Just kidding. So what I do is, like, when I hear something very early on in the call where the person's like, yeah, I'm just like ground zero, in my business, my brain goes, red flag. What, like, a red flag is a potential objection that will come up at the end. So very often they'll tell you the red flags. They'll tell you two things within the first 2 to 5 minutes of the call. Number one, what their red flags, i.e., like AKA potential objections will be. And number two, what they want to buy. Right? If you go back and listen to all your calls, they're like, well, I'm just looking for this. And at the end of the call, you're like, okay, well, I can just give you this. And they're like, yes, perfect. You read my mind. So a red flag, it's like, yeah, that's like, there's many red flags. I can't go through them all, but it's training your mind to think in terms of, will this be an objection later on in the call? That's what it's all about. So for example, like, they've been in many coaching programs before. That could be a green flag, meaning they're a buyer. Could be a red flag, meaning they're a shiny object, like coaching program hopper, right? Oh, I'm broke. I don't have a job. I'm a student. Red flag, red flag, red flag. You know, they say we a lot. Who's we? You got a business partner? Oh, yeah. Red flag. Did you tactfully interrupt ramblers? So the way to interrupt people when they're just rambling and rambling and rambling, because sometimes you feel like they're giving you a lot of good information, but they're just talking, and you got to, like, shut them up, especially if you have back-to-back calls. You can't have ramblers. So you tactfully interrupt them by mentioning something that they just said. So for example, hey Ben, like, how's the week been? Oh, it was so crazy. I've just been here in Dubai. It was like going on ATVs and ripping around and riding camels, and it's so crazy. Dubai, dude, there's like this marina and there's all these yachts, and it's super shiny. It's like Las Vegas and LA and Miami and New York had a baby. And I'm just like, wow, dude, Dubai, what brought you there, by the way? Oh, well, I was just doing that. Dude, I'm really interested about Dubai, but I'm curious. So what brought you on this call? Oh yeah, dude. Oh, I'm just looking for more leads. Gotcha. Well, like, what have you been doing? So you can just like mention something they just said and then redirect. Dude, that's so amazing. I'm so curious about that. I'm just curious about something you just said, which was really interesting. What got you on this call in the first place? Did you turn your statements into questions? Yes is good, no is bad. So this is just like a general sales rule in general. Like, oftentimes, I don't have an example on the top of my head, but I wish I had an example off the top of my head. Sometimes we say things, and we when they're phrased as statements, they don't land the same. But if we phrase them as questions, they land better. I wish I had an example off the top of my head. I don't. Did you maintain your authority versus try to be their friend? I feel like this was already up here, but that was for the frame. This is just in general. I mean, you want to be like a friendly authority, like a friendly police officer, I guess. You know, you're not there to really be their friend. Like, I had a call with a guy. I'm from a small town, Halifax, Canada. I had a call with a guy who was also from Halifax. I actually recognized him. And he's like, yeah, I'm from Halifax. I'm like, oh, cool. You know, other closers would be like, whoa, I'm from Halifax too. Wow, that's so cute. But I just saved it for the end. I'm like, oh, by the way, I'm from Halifax. Like, whoa, what, really? Like, after the guy bought. So you're not there to be their friend. Once they give you their credit card, then you can like start the small talk. So did you ask to understand versus to respond? Asking to understand is good versus to respond is bad. So this is just a mindset going into the call. My one goal, whether I'm setting or closing, is to just understand their situation. Just coming from that frame mindset will help your tonality. It will help your questions. It will help you uncover objections. It will help them feel like this guy gets me. And the number one thing for a sales call is for them to feel understood, not for them to understand you and your offer, but this guy really gets me. And then connecting their problems, their goals, their dreams, fears to your solution and showing them, you know, hey, we can fix this. Were you indifferent during the close? Okay, so before I go to this one, what would asking to respond be? This kind of goes back to like the follow-up questions / next questions. But what's a good example of this? It's like asking to respond is like when you're in a conversation with somebody and you're just like waiting for them to stop talking so you can say the thing that you want to say, versus asking to understand when you're listening there and you're actually listening to them. You're like, oh, okay, interesting. Were you indifferent during the close? So the whole thing is like, my whole frame is, I don't care if you do or don't. I know you will like it a lot if you do. If not, that's cool with me. Like, whatever. Indifference, nonchalance, offer nonchalance. Listen, bro, like sometimes you just gotta lean out. Like, I don't know. Okay, cool. Not for everyone. Well, like, well, wait, what do you mean? Yeah. So being a bit indifferent doesn't hurt. Did you loop questions until you got the right answer? This should literally be in the objection handling thing, because sometimes we got to loop, but also looping questions is a discovery principle. So if I ask you a question and you don't give me the answer that I'm looking for, so this goes back to being intentional and knowing why you're asking the question. So like, let's say I go, what's your income goal? And you go, aha, the sky's the limit. I don't go to my next question. I'm not like, okay, cool. Well, like, how long have you wanted to hit the sky? Being like, it doesn't make sense. So I would loop back and ask that same question in a different way. Right. So good salespeople have, a bunch of different ways they ask the same question. Because sometimes people just don't know why you're asking it. They don't get it. They're trying to be smart ass. But it's most of the questions in the sales script are designed like a monopoly, where it's like you do not pass go until you get this checked off, right? I use this like a checklist. Not this, I wouldn't use this on the call, but I probably just have my call flow up. But anyway, I would be looping questions. So you're like, yeah, I know this guy's the limit, but like, you have a specific target though. Like, oh, I mean, let's say they do it again. I'm like, no, I don't really deal in targets, bro. Okay, well, what? Like, we need something measurable, or else, like we could work together and you just be like, hey, this guy sucked because he didn't help me hit my goal. Well, we don't know what your goal is. Oh yeah, I want to be able to travel to Hawaii and stuff and go on this crazy vacation. Oh, okay, well, like, how much would that cost? Oh, like 10 G's. Okay, so like, let's say your goal is 10 grand a month. Oh, at least. Okay, like, oh, that's looping though. It's just asking different questions until you get the answer you want. All right. So last thing on here, did you deflect questions during discovery? Many times closers can get derailed when the prospect starts asking you questions. I hear this a lot. Like, hey, look, tell me about you first. You get on a frame and you're like, well, so tell me what got you on this call. Prospect will be like, well, tell me about you. I don't know who you are. I'm like, yeah, dude, totally. I'm Ben, and I help people grow their businesses, but really this call is about you. And I'm just kind of curious just to know if I can even help. What would you say is like your biggest challenge right now? Oh, well, I'm just just deflecting questions. You don't want to start talking during the discovery, because you're putting the spotlight, the focus on you, not them. So anyway, this was relatively long. Seeing if there's anything I clearly missed. I don't think there was. So hopefully you got a lot out of this. If you want a training on the call flow, going deeper in that, or anything else to go deeper, like my pitch training, for example, just let me know. I'll upload that to maybe YouTube, or I'll send it to you. If you have any questions, want me to go deeper on the stuff, also let me know. And if you want help, increasing your sales, making more money, getting more leads, calls, clients closed, collecting more cash, making more money in general, shoot me a DM. Of course, I have an offer for you. And if you don't want help with that, no worries. Thanks for watching, guys.